Hello everyone, and welcome back to Season 2 of Star Trek Honasto, a game of first edition Star Trek adventures using the rules by Modiphius Entertainment, featuring a all-Klingon crew in an all-Klingon galaxy. They flew across from the Milky Way to Seg 1, and it's an entire, what do we say, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 ship of Klingons. A point being, there's a lot of Klingons. They're in a new galaxy. They're having fun. My name is, of course, ELH the Game Master, and joining me are some lovely individuals who we'll meet right away because we have quite a number of things to handle before we can actually start the session proper. Woo! So let us start with Steadfast Pig.
Hello, I am Steadfast Pig. I am playing Brigadier General Hur'q. I'm very excited to be back. I'm just an old Klingon guy who likes stabbing things, and I'm ready to keep that train rolling.
All right, Kern.
I'm playing Captain Dagon, and I certainly do like to do engineering. And as the chief engineer of the whole fleet, it's certainly looking forward to season 2.
Yeah,
love it. Donut.
Hello, I'm back as Captain Honasto, who will patch you up, but also kind of what Hur'q was saying, also took to the stabbing in season 1 a little bit more than I thought. So sometimes stabbing will make you better, and sometimes it will make them worse. Who could have thought? Looking forward to more.
Love it. And last but not least, Monjadin.
Monjadin at you here, playing Colonel Maury, son of Povich of House Bachil, the fleet-wide lawyer / judiciary representative / diplomat that can't hold his liquor. Maybe there's been some it changes in the emotional glow up for the second season. Maybe a little more caution, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more attitude. We don't know. Happy season 2, everybody.
Love
Get
it.
A new focus in alcohol drinking.
Yeah, focus and extra liver.
Focus and extra.
Look, redundant organs, right?
I got one of those.
Yeah, let's sign up for another one.
Why?
Right,
¿Por qué no los cuatros?
Let's run the introduction and then we can do housekeeping before we get started proper. And welcome back. So, before we actually begin our Season 2 premiere, we have to sort of take a step back and we have to return to the initial talks after the end of the battle. For anybody who needs a refresher, at the end of Season 1, the eponymous is eponymous the word I want?
Eponymous.
That's the word I want. The Hur'q showed up, and the Hur'q made a play for the Drin homeworld, and our intrepid group of Klingons decided, hey, let's maybe not let the Hur'q do that. Let's maybe put these Hur'q down. And yeah, sure enough, the full might of the Honasto was brought to bear, and the Hur'q were basically I think dominated is the right word. There
Oh.
were ships that literally got deleted with one shot from the Spinal Lance.
Mhm.
There were ships that got eviscerated by the ventral disruptor cannons. And at the very end of it, at least as far as my notes are concerned, several of the Hur'q ships had been captured by your contingents of Klingon warriors.
Mhm.
So, where we're actually going to sort of start, but not for real, is in the war room with Admiral Zark, as you all are taking stock of the battle. And Admiral Zark is kind of looking at just a smattering of pads that are just strewn all over the war table. And Admiral Zark is going to kind of put the pads down and rub at his forehead and go, okay, well, we did a very good job here. Well done all around. But there is the matter of the Drin. I see here that the Drin are already petitioning us to hand over some of the ships that we've captured. And while I have an opinion, I'd like to hear from each of you. Do you think we should oblige the Drin in this matter?
Okay, I've got an out of character question relevant to that. Have they been like, say, we like this, or excellent, thank you for doing this, please hand them over as soon as you can? Have they assumed that we're going to give them, or have they requested them?
They very much requested it. It is very much one of those things where after it came out again last session that, and this came from Astizia, the champion, the reason they were being so reticent and very reluctant in revealing what they knew about the Hur'q and the whole alien technology thing was because they initially thought you were coming and being the Repo Men. So when it was revealed that you were not being the Repo Men, they were a little embarrassed, of course, and they were very, I guess happy would be the right word, but they also don't want to push their luck. So the requests that have come in so far have been very much, hey, thanks for doing that. Can we maybe get a part? Can we maybe get a ship or two to study? You know, that sort of thing.
I would say currently we are in a extremely favorable position to jockey for control of the situation after just saving their homeworld from complete and utter destruction. We have much more room as a bargaining chip. I think it would be a good addition to add in, throw them over one of the Durgath-class ships. For now, finalize negotiations and see if we can get them as some sort of formal ally, if that is still our goal, and perhaps at the close of those negotiations we can share what else we've learned as well.
I agree in principle with you, General, but we have a great deal to consider in how these ships might degrade the balance in the galaxy to even begin. We are indeed in a favorable position to utilize these ships as the final option in bargaining. This culture has already rapidly reverse engineered the Hur'q technology in the same way that we have. If we allow this to continue, what then might become of the balance of power and the future influence of the Klingon Empire in this galaxy?
If we raise the Drin up to a higher standard, then the balance of power would shift completely in our favor if we hold them as part of our own empire, which...
Right, if we absorb them in, which, may I remind you, there are some significant, shall we say, biological threads in that direction, and like Hamas is definitely kind of like hinting, like, yeah, there's some stuff here, guys.
Which that brings us back to that point, Admiral. If you know anything more about the Drin and their homeworld, I think that now would be a good time to inform us of anything that we have not been told of.
Specifically in regards to this being our route and mission at all, it It's quite the coincidence, I would say.
Right, because they were like re-engineered proto-Klingons.
Uh-huh.
This homeworld was a modified version of Konos, right?
Right, like we just like walked right into being like, oh hey, what's this? Why? This is
definitely
like
not a coincidence.
definitely not a coincidence. Not buying that for a minute.
Yeah.
Now, is it? Yeah. So I'd like to get some answers too. Quasi out of character. But.
Right.
Right. So I think Admiral
And,
Zark is actually going to kind of laugh and chuckle a bit, and he goes, well, I think at this stage it's appropriate for me to share what Klingon intelligence has revealed. So, long story short, we were able to detect that a Hur'q vessel, or I say the word detect, really we had stories, we had eyewitness accounts that Hur'q vessels were seen leaving the Milky Way galaxy and headed to Segue, where we are now. But this was centuries ago. This was very, very long ago when the Hur'q were even around in the Milky Way galaxy. And as far as these accounts, as far as this data was concerned, they were indeed headed to this location, to the Drin system, or at least very nearby. So, of course, we turned our long-range telescopes and long-range scanning equipments. Of course, we can't scan across the galaxy quite yet, but we were at least able to tell that there was a potential system such as this that we should explore first. Now, of course, you realize that I have been keeping this secret from you, but I think you all can agree that if we had set out with the mission of let us go chase down some Hur'q, there perhaps would not have been some as much revelry and as much commitment to the mission of exploring Segue than we might have had we revealed this fact up front.
Would it not have been, Admiral, a greater honor to have begun the search for the Hur'q in true and full earnest? This would give every warrior the chance to not only gain the honor for themselves and their house, but to avenge the honor of the Klingon people after centuries of Hur'q dominion.
Well, think of it this way. If we came out all this way and we found out that there was nothing in this star system and that there were no Hur'q, because again, a lot of the data that we had was hearsay or secondhand accounts. We didn't have hard proof that the Hur'q were here to begin with, at least until they showed up quite literally on the edge of the Drin system. Think of it this way. If we had told everyone we're chasing after the Hur'q, and we got here and there were no Hur'q, that would be a heavy blow to morale. I don't think we have quite enough bloodwine aboard to fix that problem.
I know that
no need to belly ache on the past anyway, so let's move on to the future.
We're here.
And
the mission,
in my mind, the future is me looking at going over the Hur'q ships to see what technologies we can glean off of it, and then obviously I would slow roll the. I'd start with a small ship and get the Drin to train them on that small ship, and then maybe work their way up to a sarcophagus ship. Slow roll before.
Yeah, I think we hold. Yeah, I think we hold the sarcophagus ship. Yeah, I think we hold that off until we finalize some sort of diplomatic agreement. You know what I mean? That's as like a, hey, if you do want to like chuck in and say you're part of the Klingon Empire and let us kind of be here and help out, then sure, we'll let you take a look at the sarcophagus ships along with us as a show of good faith. Thanks for being a member of the Empire.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about as a attempt, not a combination of a gift and a challenge to uplift them, rather than directly share the ships and their technology? What if we tow the remains into a system not too far from here, but one that will test their ability to develop a warp-capable vessel to travel to? Let them retrieve the ruins, let them study them, but let them do so by the fruits of their own labor and their own uplifting, rather than directly doing so, which may bring them far too close for our own liking and for our own ability to maintain an alliance. What if they become too powerful, this close to their own supply chains and bases? We are a galaxy away. This is their backyard.
They don't know their backyard. They haven't been out in their
Right,
backyard.
They're barely
It's not like
capable
they
of.
made allies here.
Yeah, they're barely capable of sending a ship into orbit. If we give it on them to try to create their own warp travel, they're not going to be extremely effective allies for some time to come.
And that could take centuries too. So
the other thing that we now have to worry about, we've just destroyed a dozen Hur'q ships in a system that we know this planet in this area. Nothing else is scouted. We have no means of telling how greater the Hur'q threat is. They were not expecting us to be here, and so I think that added to our ability to completely decimate their fleet. But we can assume that one of those ships got out a distress call, and now our presence has been reported. This is most likely not the last we're going to see of Hur'q vessels, and the next time they'll be ready for us and what we have to offer.
But even so, we still cannot ensure that they are ready for interstellar travel, especially not interstellar combat, in the one lifetime we have to be here in Seg 1. It is more of a long-term plan that we ensure that they are moving of their own velocity, of their own volition. We do not need to hide the presence of these ships from them. We can give them the coordinates of whatever the nearest appropriate system is, and encourage their development, perhaps even point them in some scientific way to grow it themselves. But we do nothing other than the beneficial side effect of what happened with the Klingons. Instead of us taking technology, they would be
right now anyway.
receiving it.
Realistically, anyway, the best they can do right now is be Bex. Basically war meat. I mean, we can't get them trained, on warp drives and EPS conduits and all that stuff in a short period of time. So right now, the only reality for them is to become soldiers on on the ships we have.
Right, some sort of vassal or subsidiary, or
As long as we maintain some way to ensure that they can at least continue their dependence on the Klingon Empire in some way. If they become truly independent and a galactic contender in another galaxy, we lose an ally that has become too powerful to need an alliance. The mutual benefit of an alliance must be maintained over the long haul.
But that's way down the line
right.
here.
The potential,
that's not tomorrow there.
Right. The potential threat for them becoming some sort of player that rivals us is, like you mentioned, nowhere near in our lifetime in any way whatsoever.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we're creating the foundation and the groundwork here. I don't think that we need to,
We'll
be
still
afraid
starting
of
with a working relationship, working together.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we become friends, and basically from there we can uplift their society slowly and wisely.
Yeah, it's not going to be quick. This is going to take forever.
And fully integrate them, again, as cousins of the Klingon Empire,
right?
In a way, to
I
me, obviously to Knas, that's a big screaming, truly blood brothers in a way, a manner of speaking, But yes, I also agree. We don't necessarily want to open the door to them trying to take us over or think they can take us over. Even if they don't have the ability to, we don't want them to think they can.
Yeah. But
So
I think we're in a good position.
I think we're in a good position. Right?
Yeah.
So I think Admiral Zark kind of takes this all in and says, very well, then if I understand the room correctly, we are in agreement that we will not be wholesale handing these Hur'q ships over, but perhaps we can have some liaisons, or some, as the Federation would call them, eggheads. Perhaps they can join us in poking and prodding at what we can find on the Hur'q vessels.
Indeed.
Very well.
As long as we moderate the technology transfers and ensure that if they are coming too far too fast, we must also, as the Federation uses the term, cover our ass.
Which makes you wonder, thinking of the Federation. As far as I'm aware, most member states of the Federation only have the one ass. So Zark goes off on a tangent,
It's
and
true.
we kind of do one of those vignette fades or
I
swipe
was gonna
left
say,
fades.
I was going to say, isn't that what pants are for?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many asses do we get because of Klingons with redundancy and all? Rockwell.
I'm learning
Now-
a lot of things.
The Drin have that third like tentacle arm. Does it have a butt? We got to ask the real question.
We do have to ask the real questions. But yeah, we
That
do
sounds
that
like a medical
vignette
question
wipe
to me.
because we are now going to do a little bit of a time skip forward, sort of the reel between season 1 and season 2.
Mhm.
So we still see, when the vignette swipes right again, we still see the Drin homeworld. We still see the Honasto and its lesser ships still in orbit. The Hur'q ships are still there, the whole 9 yards. But there has been a larger change. And what I mean by that is, in the months since this battle with the Hur'q, you all have mined the neighboring moons, the neighboring planets, and created a sort of, not necessarily a full Stardock, but sort of more support cradles for the sarcophagus ship and the smaller Hur'q vessels that you captured. And every once in a while, as we sort of look at this vista, we see that there actually are Drin ships launching from the planet up to these support cradles, and it's very similar to what we have on Earth right now with Boeing and Starlink, or whatever the actual name of the company is that's evading my mind at the moment.
We get Drin defense contractors to deal with now.
Yeah, you got Drin defense contractors.
SpaceX.
That's the one I wanted. Thank you. But basically, the Drin are doing regular flights to and from the support structures. They're very much not owning these support structures. They are very much just being allowed on as, well, contractors, as being able to come in, poke around a little bit under the supervision of Klingon warriors. And that's actually where we start to hear Admiral Zark's voice. Yeah, and engineers. This is where we start to hear Admiral Zark's voice, as he says, "Admiral's log, 6 months since our arrival in Seg 1. To be honest, when I first set out in this mission, I was perhaps eager to fight the Hur'q and find a way to reclaim the honor of the Klingon people. However, in our arrival here in the Drin system, and the arrival of the Hur'q in said system, I find myself asking, what are the Hur'q actually after here? Because as much as we've been able to study the Drin, it leads me to believe that they are us in some aspects. They are what the Klingon people used to be. And to that end, after conferring with my senior officers, we have begun the process of assimilating the Drin into the Klingon Empire. The Drin, of course, have been very receptive to the idea after all these revelations have come out, and rather than the free-spirited, free-willed people that perhaps will one day rebel against their Klingon masters, they have been extremely receptive in becoming a member of the Empire. In fact, we have already established several embassies on the planets that the Drin hold, and we have also been able to bring their best and brightest up to speed on the technologies they can expect as a member of the Empire. However, there are some growing pains, as the Federation would say. There have been a few dissident factions on the Drin homeworld that are perhaps not as receptive to being underlings to another power. And while that is something that the Drin people have not specifically requested our aid with, it is something on our radar nonetheless. There's also the matter of the Hur'q themselves. They have not made a further appearance, and we have not been able to determine where their home base has come from, where these ships launched from. But we are still reviewing the Hur'q databases, and we are still reviewing all data to determine where it is that the Hur'q are originating from. I believe perhaps that this will be something moving forward in Seg 1 that will color all our adventures moving forward. For now, I am about to board the sarcophagus ship and meet with my senior officers as I believe they are currently overseeing a Drin host at the current moment. And log. And for sitting through that monologue, you may also have a momentum. So where we're going to actually see is we zoom away from the Honasto and we zoom into the sarcophagus ship and its support structure. And we zoom into the auditorium-like bridge of the sarcophagus ship, where all of you, Hur'q, Dagon, Kanas, Mori, all of you are currently situated and overseeing a Drin contingent. Now, for the most part, the Drin that are here, they are female Drin, so they're the brightly colored ones. And they are mostly not warriors, which means that they are kind of dressed in standard sort of colorful robes. They have their recording implements frantically scribbling away. But the only actual warrior that is with them is Champion Astasia herself. And Astasia is in full war gear, which means she has her third arm prosthetic. She has her weapons with her. But she's just sort of there, just sort of looking around and enjoying the sights, as it were. Mm-hmm. But to kick off the roleplay proper, also you got a momentum from chat and a complication from chat. We'll get to the complication, but I believe you are now up to 2 momentum.
Cool.
Where did we get the complication? I see the good.
Well, I have an idea for the complication, but we have to do a little roleplay first.
But nobody redeemed one.
So the way we'll kick off the roleplay proper is one of the eggheads, as I'm just going to call them. One of the eggheads goes over and starts prodding at one of the control tables, and immediately the control table starts beeping frantically. And, you know, the Drin looks very reticent and goes, I'm sorry, I just thought I might have understood the algorithm here. Have I angered the ship in some way? It's frantically beeping at me.
Go see what's going on there.
All right, so first roll of season 2. Dagon, if you can give me a very basic insight in engineering, difficulty of 0. Let's get you some momentum.
Can I have a focus here?
Well, let's take a look. I believe you probably have a focus. I mean, if you didn't have a focus, I would be alarmed at this point.
I'd be alarmed too.
Yeah, you definitely have a focus on this one. You have weapon systems, you've got reverse engineering, you've got starship design. Yeah, you have multiple focuses here.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Boom. All right, 2 successes mean that you get 2 momentum, bringing you up to 4. So all that this Drin has ended up doing was basically activate not red alert, but some form of yellow alert. Mm-hmm. And it hasn't caused any weapons to actually begin priming. Or any shields to come up, but a yellow alert has been called.
Okay.
Do we, was it, are these like, do they have ranks or titles? Is she professor something?
I would say, just for sake of argument, I will generate up names on the fly as the Drin warrant actually being named, because if I named all of them, we'd be here forever. But as far as their rank is concerned, you can refer to them as adjutant. Or no, we used adjunct. Let's call them just we'll just call them professors for the time being.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. I want to try to kind of assuage her, you know, and I'm going to throw in the whole psychology angle here of, you know, it's admirable that you want to do this, you know, but please, there is much to learn. We have much to teach. Restrain yourself. Don't do that again. And hopefully in a nice way. I want to kind of get this across to her and the rest of the folks in the crowd.
Okay. You know what? We'll give this Drin a name. Her name is Hinden, and I'll put it in chat.
Hinden.
Professor Hinden.
Yep, Professor.
Professor Hinden, your understanding has advanced by leaps and bounds in the last few months. Do continue this, but please do continue it with checking first if you are uncertain. There is never any harm or dishonor in learning further.
Of course. Apologies if I offended. I believe there is a maxim, though, that I've understood from your people, that the fortune favors the bold.
This is true.
It's true.
But there is a term, though, which translates roughly to moment of teachability for all that we do. And bold moves are good to consume as they are educated moves.
Well, Hold up, out of character.
Dagon takes.
Hold up, out of character.
Okay.
What was the name again? Just so I can make a note.
Spell that.
That.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Was that 3 Qs? I think 5 Ks there. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just heard phlegm, and I was like, "Yeah, that's Klingon. That sounds
Yeah.
right."
That works. Yeah.
Yeah, Klingon, the language that combines all the joy of Yiddish and sneezing.
Yeah. It's true.
Anyway, sorry, Dagon. You were
Well,
saying.
I was playing. Pull up my doctog, and touch the point and say, well, this point gets very sharp when it comes for people who are too bold.
And I think
It's
actually,
intimidation.
Hindin actually laughs at that, as do several of the other professors that are there, and go, "Your point is well taken. Again, my apologies. I will ask in the future
I'm the
before
one who-
touching."
I'm the one who gets chuckles at that point.
Oh.
A hearty Klingon laugh.
Oh. Actually, out of character, do we know if these ships have holodecks?
No, so I guess as part of the time skip, I can give you some details. So the Hur'q vessels don't have holodecks. In fact, they don't really have holo technology at all. If anything, this is very, very original series, or very NX era compared to what the Honasto has to offer. Where they are still warp capable, they do have stealth systems, they do have formidable weaponry, but they don't have a lot of the amenities that the Honasto has aboard its mighty vessel.
So they'll have
Okay.
transporters, but they don't have them refined to the point where they could do matter, energy matter for replicators. And thus
Yes.
holo.
The
Okay.
sarcophagus ships do not have replicators.
Gotcha.
Okay. So we can't give them a holodeck bridge.
Was there any information on research?
That was the next thing I was going to say, actually, where I'm going to let this be a roll because I have a whole lot of information I could give you, but I
like
want
rolls.
it to be a roll from the group.
Gotcha.
And what I mean by this is that I'm going to let you all decide 2 rolls here. The first roll, really both rolls, is going to be whomever feels the most bold at reason and their power stat. So obviously for Dagon, reason engineering. For Hanas, reason medicine. You get the idea. And there is no difficulty on this roll. And what I mean by that is you will not generate momentum, but the more successes you get, the more information I'm going to give you based on what your power stat was. So what I mean is that if Dagon does the roll and gets a lot of successes, I will give you a bunch of engineering information. Kanas, if Kanas wins, I will give you medical information. And we'll sort of do it that way, so you have a chance to decide the type of information that you receive. Now, I will tell you straight up that if you get 4 or 5 successes, you will basically be given an immediate advantage or an immediate trait, which will give you kind of like a major boon moving forward.
Okay.
And we
So
assist in this role.
I'd be inclined to go with engineering and medicine.
I was about to say, I think
Yeah, I was gonna say,
engineering
yeah.
and could possibly I don't know if it would be like command or piloting or some sort of figure out what and where and that sort of system thing, the nitty gritty and what the heck were they what was the overarching plot. I don't know if that what that would tie into.
And also, can we assist in this role?
Yes, you can have 1 source of assist, and to answer your question, Donut, that would probably be a con check.
Okay.
Okay,
Those would be my votes, engineering and con.
Yeah, I think engineering for sure is the first one. And
I think hands down.
Yeah, we want to get as many successes on the engineering side. So if we can only have 1 assist, I think that's where that assist should probably go.
So I've got a mechanical possible throw that might skew things a little bit. I've got a 5 in command, but only a 9 in reason. So while that gives us a 14, I just took from the advancement cautious for command. Whenever I attempt a task with command, and you buy 1 or more d20s, you may re-roll a single d20. Gives us a little bit more of a recovery chance. If someone's going to assist in that, then we get a good chance to get, I don't know, statistically, we might have a very real shot at getting over into that 4 or 5 number.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Yeah, but only at a 14 though. That might not be the greatest shot.
I have a 16 in total engineering.
I think we definitely
hand it over. Hand it over. Yep.
Yeah, well, we could probably also do yours because I think either command.
Yeah.
What would command get us, Al?
Command would probably get you things like prefix codes,
Okay, sure.
access codes, the orders that the Hur'q had received, that sort of thing.
Vital intel.
Right, that was my vote. Like,
That's
bias,
right.
I love medicine
wait.
stuff, but I think for the overarching, for the glory of the Empire, those are going to be more important.
What about then? I could parlay an intelligence officer to that. You know,
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, probably create an advantage without requiring a task force spending resources.
Yeah, maybe, because that's like...
Again, like that would require rolling under 14s, but combo that with cautious and an assist.
Yeah.
It kind of like really brings things up and gives us something useful. But then again, there's the possibility if we go the engineering route, maybe we then extract something that could be passed along to the Drin to bring them up to speed or make what they have a little bit more efficient.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're doing 2 roles, so I know.
Oh.
Yeah,
But if we only
engineering
can
is
only
definitely
assist,
one of.
if we can only assist in one of them,
Right.
Yeah,
I want to put our marbles in engineering.
yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's like the core basis for figuring out a lot about these vessels.
Yep.
So I mean, either one of us, you or I, Maury, can assist on this because we both have commanding bloodline.
My engineering be shit, but I can throw commanding bloodline in.
Well, we can find a way to assist using command, right? And then
You can assist with a presence command on your part.
right, and then
Okay.
he would ignore a complication if we get one.
Yeah, we can't. I mean, we can't use focus on an assist, but that gives us
No,
a pretty
you can
good
use focus
shot
on
at
an
it.
We can use a
assist.
focus. We just
Oh,
it's just
hell.
one die. We just go one die.
Oh, well, I got coordinated efforts. That should probably lend to focus.
Yeah. If you
For
want
you,
to,
yes.
right? Yeah, for you, yeah.
Oh, that one carry on. I can't use that on assist though.
No, you can. You can.
Yeah,
It's just
you
that
can,
it doesn't affect Dagon's focuses.
Right.
Got it.
No.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So why don't we?
I don't think I need any help there, though.
I was gonna say, I
Yeah,
think
Dagon has so many
yeah,
relevant
probably be
focuses
fine.
that it's unreal.
Let's do engineering first.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Dagon,
So-
you're going to be doing a reason engineering. Again, the more successes you get, the more information I give you. It sounds like maybe
So-
Maury is going to be doing the presence and command assist. Remember, Maury, you are only rolling 1 die, and you do have a focus that applies here.
But it also procs advisor onto Dagon.
It does. So Dagon can reroll 1 die if need be.
So I was thinking, since that's going to be a good thing, I was thinking of buying an extra die
Okay.
for 1 momentum,
Yeah.
and that gives us, at least an extra chance at a success.
Okay.
Oh,
wow.
Oh boy! Oh
Wow,
my
that's
god!
even before the
Absolutely
assist.
shredded it.
Wowie zowie.
Wow. Yeah, for those at
Oh
home,
my
that is
God.
6
Beautiful.
successes before an
It's
assist.
gorgeous.
Make
That's
it rain
the
emote.
grit.
Make it rain emote.
Wow!
Get that assist in there. Roll a 1. Get in there.
Hell yeah.
Still the best engineer in the galaxy.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Presence command, right?
Yep, presence command.
There we go.
Wow!
There
Okay,
you go.
so 7
nice.
successes,
Nice.
which is still phenomenal.
Gorgeous.
Big
So I now have to flip to the engineering page in my notes, and I guess I get to read all of this. So first things first, you are able to tell that the sarcophagus ship is, and the other ships, but the sarcophagus ship being the oldest, they are roughly the same age as the ones that originally were subjugating the Klingons before they left. So
Gotcha.
these ships
Uh,
absolutely ancient. That these ships have not only survived the galactic journey across the void of space to Seg 1, but they are the exact same make and model, quote unquote, as the ones that subjugated the Klingon people. Which
Gotcha.
means that it's, in a really weird way, it's very possible that the Hur'q that you have subjugated, killed, whatever you want to say
Mhm.
you did to the Hur'q, probably killed.
Killed.
It is
Oh, we killed
potentially,
them all.
yeah, it is potentially one of those things where the lineage of Hur'q might be have continued, and you might have gotten some personal honor back if you follow what I'm saying.
Ooh.
That's the first
Oh
thing.
yeah,
you
damn well.
realize.
Yeah, I mean, damn straight on that point, we would not have kept any Hur'q prisoners. They acquitted themselves with honor, and we dispatched them thusly, right?
All
I
right.
mean, maybe I would have kept a couple of body parts, but not while they're still
Yeah, from dead Hur'q.
breathing
Right.
and
right.
around to wreck our day. No.
I feel like
Yeah.
we would have attempted interrogation, and I'm assuming that would have gone nowhere. And so
Yeah.
And they would have
no.
gone.
right, exactly, yeah. That would have been met with very quick and
Welcome to the airlock.
summary
Yeah.
execution. Yeah.
All right, always like to check. All right, so that's the first thing you realize is that these ships, just as ancient as the ones that initially subjugated old Kronos. Second bit of information you get is that these ships actually have not been upgraded in all that time, which means the Hur'q were technologically stagnant.
Stagnating.
Right.
Which means that they didn't advance. They might have built new ones. And in fact, you are at least seeing that in some aspects, some parts of the ship, say EPS conduits, or maybe some of the shuttles that are in the sarcophagus ship, those are newer. Those do appear to have been built more recently, but they are still the same level of technology, where despite being built more recently, there is no technological advancement from the Hur'q. That's point 2.
Interesting.
So if this is still vintage technology from when the Hur'q subjugated the Klingons, which was like 300 or 400 years ago, how did
Actually,
we
a million,
not? How did they not get sliced through like a hot bat'leth through a tar heart? It sounds like they should not have put up a fight at all.
Well, that's actually something I was going to address in point 3, but I'll clear the air immediately.
Oh, sorry.
So one of the things that we see in Star Trek Discovery, as far as I'm aware, is that the Klingon vessels are Hur'q vessels, that the sarcophagus ships, the other vessels that the Klingons in Discovery have, those are reclamated Hur'q vessels. And even in today's quote-unquote world, where you have something as mighty as the Honasto that can eviscerate any ship of a lesser size, there hasn't been really advancements too much in disruptors and shielding, where if you've got a shield, you've got a shield. If you have disruptors, you have a disruptor. So it is true that your spinal lance on the Honasto can literally delete ships from existence, but they still have shielding to resist a little bit of damage if you follow what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like, say, the Honasto versus the NX-01, where the NX-01 doesn't have shielding, it has polarized hull plating. So yes, the shields aren't as great as the Honastos, but they still have shielding.
So it would be maybe like, instead of, and assuming a regular Klingon capital ship versus a sarcophagus ship, are we talking it would take maybe 2 or 3 disruptor blasts to blow it away, even with shields, as opposed to like 7 or 8?
Yeah, I would say 3 to 4, maybe 3 to 5 is a good number.
Okay. Good. So they could have withstood their own, but not in an organized enough fashion.
Correct.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, engineering point number 3, which we've already talked a little bit about, but engineering point number 3 is that some of the materials that are going into these newer components, these newer shuttles, they actually match some of the planets, some of the moons, some of the mineable resources that the Honasto has scanned at long range, which means that the Hur'q acquired these materials from nearby systems. Now,
around here,
since you did get 7 successes, I am going to move forward into point 4, and this is one of the major things you're going to get for succeeding so well, is that one of the resources in particular, and I'm just going to throw out a scientific name, we'll just call it selenium. I don't know if selenium is actually used for anything real in the Star Trek universe, but it sounds cool, so we're going to go with selenium.
It does.
Love it.
Klingon multivitamins.
Yeah, there you go. We're going to say that the selenium used in perhaps some of the bulkheads of the Hur'q vessels, there's only one place in the local area that you can get that level of selenium. And that is actually the closest star system to the Drin system. It's about 3 light years away, which, if I remember my Star Trek lore correctly, that's roughly about the same between Earth and Vulcan. Maybe it's 5 light years. Either way, it's about the same span between Earth and Vulcan. That is a hop, skip, and a jump away. And again, this material was mined semi-recently. So you do know that the Hur'q either have mining facilities in this other system, or at least the capability to mine from that system very recently. Now, since you got 7 successes, I can give you the second major item. There actually is a third and a fourth, but you didn't roll an 8, 9, or a 10 number of successes, so I can't give you those quite yet. But with 7 successes, the second major engineering item I can give you is that there does appear to be, in the logs of the Hur'q engineering records, which is a tautology, I know what I just said. Basically, what you see in the logs is that there does appear to be a mothership, quote unquote, where the mothership, if these records are correct, it roughly is the size of the Honasto, which means it is large enough to dock or actually bring in a sarcophagus ship into hangar. But again, as a reminder, it might be the size of the Honasto, but it's not as technologically advanced as the Honasto, at least as far as you're able to tell.
Interesting.
So that's all you get for your 7 successes. I know that was a little bit of a monologue, but there you go. That's all you get.
That's actually pretty
There's
good.
a lot going on,
Then, what was the diff on that?
So again, it wasn't a difficulty roll. It was just how many successes you got.
Okay, gotcha. Copy. Beautiful. Okay, nice. And then did we want to do a command roll as our second one? Cool. That's definitely gonna be Maury. My reason is bad.
Yep, unless there's anybody else with higher than a 5 for command, let's do it.
I can assist presence command. I've got 15 total. Presence command there.
And let's see. So I got intelligence officer coming into play.
Can we assist on this one as well?
No, you've used up your 1 assist.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. We got cautious proccing. I'm gonna go ahead and call forth intelligence officer. I want my advantage on that one.
Okay, so I'll say that you'll get some extra information being an intelligence officer. But as a reminder on cautious, in order for cautious to trigger, you have to buy me at least 1 die with momentum.
I think this is a good time to buy 2. What do y'all think?
That would be 3 momentum.
Yeah, that would use all
big or
our
go home.
One-
And we're not going home.
Oh crap, that's right. It's not logarithmic. But yeah, let's just buy the 1.
Well, you can do 1 momentum and 2 threat if you want. I think that's fine.
That puts us at 10 threat before things even happen, with a lot of unknowns in play.
Yeah, but it's a Klingon.
Yeah,
It's a Klingon game. We're ready, are we?
it'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm right. I mean, you don't have to, but if you really wanted a 4th die,
Well, if we got this much out of 7 successes, yeah, let's throw the threat in. Why not? That we buy 2 threat to get the extra.
Yeah, it would
how many
be
total?
2 more threat, and you would be rolling 4 dice here.
There you go.
So buy 1, get 2. All right. Okay. That was a reason command or presence
Reason
command?
command.
Was it? Reason command with, I'm going to say, coordinated efforts with that advantage.
Also, Steadfast, I saw your message in Discord. It's weird because Vulcan on some star charts is very close to Earth, and other star charts it's not.
That's what I was confused about, because I saw 3 different things, anywhere from 5 to 16 light years away. So
yeah, we'll just say that this selenium mineable area is 5 to 16 light years away.
Right.
We'll keep it heavy.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Closer than 12 parsecs.
Right.
Right.
2.5 days away.
Yeah.
There we go.
2.5 days away. That's just a hop, a skip, and a jump away. There.
It is the narratively appropriate distance away.
Yeah, there you
There
go.
you go.
1 narrative. Cool. So 4 total with a focus. You think I should throw in a value on this one?
I mean, that would be spending your determination, but maybe you want to save that one as
you
a
could
GM.
all yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've got enough going.
Yeah,
I think
this is
enough.
gathering. We're not
And-
trying to push through some shit. All right.
Theoretically, if you roll all zeros, you could use your value to re-roll them all, but
Right.
Well,
All right.
that
Well,
is
got-
2 successes with
Hold
a
up. I've
complication.
got
You do have cautious.
let's see,
Mhm.
the one reroll. So if I reroll the complication one, does that get rid of the complication?
Yes, unless you roll
Yeah.
another complication.
All right. Well,
yes, of
I'm
course.
going to reroll the one complication. and
Which,
hope-
Take a
as
chance.
I am fond of saying, because it happens a lot in my
Uh-huh.
games, it is 1 in 400 odds to roll
Right.
another 20.
Right, exactly.
Indeed.
Look, fam, we didn't buy that threat for nothing.
That's true. You know what? Go big or go home, and we can't go home.
Yeah.
True.
We
Okay,
are
you've
home.
converted it to 3 successes, no complications. And
Mm.
don't worry, chat, I still do have your complication. It's just coming in a narratively appropriate moment.
Mhm.
So, with 3 successes and an intelligence officer coming into play, biggest item I can give you is that you actually have the former location of the Hur'q mothership,
Oh, cool.
Uh-huh.
which means you don't have a warp trail quite yet. You don't have they are here at this very moment kind of a thing, but you are able to tell that somewhere in between that narrative distance between the Selenium system and where you are currently, the Hur'q mothership was about 3/4 of the way towards the Selenium system.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now,
Were they going towards it? Were they just near it?
they were just
We
sort
know
of
they
in interstellar space between. They weren't really going towards the Drin homeworld. They weren't really going towards the Selenium system. They were just sort of parked somewhere.
Maybe on a holding pattern.
Yeah.
They might have better sensors.
But it's not like they had to be present around the Selenium mine for reasons unknown.
Correct.
Okay.
Now that's the biggest item you get, and I will tell you that your immediate jump that at least I would make sense to me when you have long range sensors of the Honasto immediately center on that point and scan. There's nothing there, so
Sure.
either the Hur'q vessel has used its stealth systems and moved, or has moved entirely. It is not anywhere within sensor range.
Gotcha.
Now,
Did we
the other
have-
little minor bits of information you get, since you got 3 successes, the Hur'q, as far as you're able to tell, are very much, and this might just be obvious, but let me explain, they are very insect-like in that they were following a almost bee-like hierarchy, where there was not necessarily a queen per se, but there was something in a queen role that was commanding the sarcophagus ship and commanding the lesser vessels, and that most of the Hur'q that you killed were just sort of drones in that regard,
Gotcha.
which is a small departure from what you know of the Hur'q so far. It's not a major jump, it's just a small departure. But you were able to tell that as far as discerning what this quote-unquote queen, what this leader Hur'q looked like, they don't really have a lot of biological difference between the two. So I'll give you a little bit of a medicine feel here, where you wouldn't be able to tell at a glance what a Hur'q leader looks like.
Okay.
Now, the one remaining tidbit I can give you for 3 successes is that you actually have the prefix codes for all the vessels that you have acquired. So you can do nearly anything with the vessels you've acquired, which means if you do hand them over to the Drin and the Drin don't do, something you like with the ships, you've got the prefix codes, you can shut them down immediately.
Does that also give us any leverage over other types of Hur'q ships that we have yet encountered, or is it just what we've got here in this local fleet?
Just what you've got here in the local.
Okay.
I guess that interesting question, just to loop back. How many, because there were like 15 to 20 of the Durgath-class ships and then 2 of the sarcophagus ships.
Mhm.
How many of them are were theoretically salvageable, right? Like,
So
I'm sure
I'm
some
going
of
to
those little
actually put
ones
this
we
in chat
ripped.
because I want there to be a written record of it.
sure.
So you have 3 sarcophagus, and
Okay.
then of the where was it? The Daspu. There were 3 Daspu that were not immediately destroyed.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So overall, there's only 4 ships of the Hur'q that survived or were not so turned into scrap that you've just sort of reclamated them into your own material
Okay.
stores. But you have 1 sarcophagus ship and 3 Despu, which are in the support cradles above the Drin homeworld.
Okay, got it.
Was there anything about Hur'q, logs or historical records that was of interest from the command check, or did we not get that far into it?
They didn't get that far, unfortunately.
Okay.
Interesting.
So yes, that is my info dump for the session, hopefully.
God, my notes look disgusting. Nobody look.
Oh, you should see mine. Mine are even worse. Like, I legitimately have written, like, physical pen and paper notes that I'm flipping through here.
Oh, amazing.
I can believe it. There's a
All of
lot.
mine are typed. They're all here in Forge. They're great. Okay, nice. Okay. Interesting. Okay, very cool.
Nothing else about culture, societal, or is it, since they're hive-minded, are they like truly, are they close to the Borg in like a shared hive mind collective? Are they individualists? Do they have a spiritual concept? Materialists?
All
Grounded
interesting
commies?
questions that you don't quite have the answers to.
We'll get to at
Oh,
some
well.
point, I guess,
Okay.
this season of Honasto. Gotta leave some mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
How's their honey? Do they make honey?
Yeah, I'll give that to you. Sure, you do
Check one
find
of the
in one of the storage bays of the sarcophagus ship this honey-like substance, and when you maybe
It's a
like
herb honey.
scan it and make sure it's edible, you maybe like take like a pinky and taste it. It's a very salty honey.
Oh no.
It's not something that to humans sounds like it's palatable, but maybe Klingons like salty honey. Who knows?
Mm.
I'm sure that the underling that tasted it regretted doing so.
Yes, and because I find it absolutely hilarious. What was the name of that champion of yours? Yes, the gunner, Nort Nagaza. Nort Nagaza is the one that sampled it and goes, "Oh, all of this is horrible. And he goes back for a second one. This is repugnant.
It's unpalatable.
Amazing.
All right, maybe after enough blood wine, you can tolerate it.
It'll be a
Maybe
new
that's the
test of
secret.
culinary
I
honor.
love it.
And I think Nagaza actually says, "You, bring me blood wine." He takes a swig of blood wine, takes another bite of the honey. No, that's still horrible. More
Why
blood
do you
wine.
keep going
process
back?
repeats.
He's a glutton
Because
for
we keep
punishment.
giving you blood wine.
Oh, jeez.
Beautiful.
Dude.
All right, I can't think of anything else to extract that we got good enough for. With a 3 compared to a 7, damn, but I'll take what we can get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not bad. Having the prefix codes is definitely helpful.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Now the question
Alright.
is, how much do you tell the drink contingent? Is the question.
Well, we have not have we at this point have we finalized some sort of written, documented thing after 6
Speaking of-
months?
Oh yeah, speaking of which,
A
yeah,
treaty?
I'm gonna play the lawyer card here and try to have that done in a way that is favorable enough, but I want to make sure that there's no loopholing happening. That wherever possible, it's deferred to us on favorable enough terms that don't make them grumble too much. Let the lawyer do the negotiating on this one.
Yeah. So
How
let's actually handle
airtight
that
do
in
we
a
make
little
this
bit
treaty?
of let's handle that in a little bit of role play actually. So as the eggheads are poking around with Dagon, and Dagon is keeping them from poking around too much, Astizia kind of sidles up to you, Maury, and goes, "Well, we've reviewed your recent proposal for the formalization of our induction into the Empire, and for the most part, my people are very receptive, and I personally am very, very thankful for the stipulations and the chances of gaining honor that you have provided in the contract. However, there was one item which I must insist is changed."
Well, let us first hear this item.
And she actually pulls out a pad, which isn't a Klingon pad; it's a Drin pad, and it kind of looks like a flattened football, American football, I should qualify, where it is kind of like this, not quite stadium shape, but it's like shaped like an elongated egg of some kind. But she brings up the contract and says, Item 16B, paragraph 3, subsection 2. The concept that we are not allowed a contingent aboard the Honasto. It is something where we are very much interested in joining you on your galactic journey, in exploring surrounding space, and the thought of not being able to share in that honor and sharing in that glory, that is something that I personally would like to change.
Adjutant Astizia, you have indeed earned the honor of accompanying a Klingon vessel, and indeed, your presence is an honor to us. However, we cannot necessarily guarantee the long-term presence of this honorable relationship without the mutual contribution from both parties. I would say that clause is in there for the benefit of the Drin, in the hopes that your presence aboard your own ships spurs the honor of no longer needing a contingency. And it also leads the way towards your own honor being spread of your terms. Note in this agreement that we do not restrict your growth. We do not place any substance on how your honor must be proven within the Empire. Now, I know that we have spoken at length about the concept of the Jahpui, and that the Drin rise far above this. I would say that this is a point which is not relevant or needed to the Drin. It is a foregone conclusion that you would have your own honor in the days and years to come. And I'm going to put forth the subtext through all this lawyerliness of, no, our ships are our own. If we're going to have Drin, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. We're not guaranteeing Drin presence on the rest of our mission. That if the Drin want to explore, I'm guessing they're allowed to do that under the terms of this agreement and under annexation. We're not taxing them. We're not, going, or at least no differently. If they want to do something, they get their ships, but we keep our ships to ourselves. I'm not saying anything as to whether or not that's mutual.
Okay. So, no roll required on that, because I don't think that should be a roll. But Astizia sort of nods and says, I understand where you're coming from, but the Drin, as far as our history is concerned, even amongst, in our times of turmoil, even amongst our most hated hated enemies, hated nations, in the times of trouble, we still had ambassadors and other Drin of other culture with us. That even when we were hurling nuclear weapons at one another, when we were quite literally fighting tooth and nail for every inch of territory, we still had diplomatic channels immediately available to us. Now, of course, the Klingon people do things differently, but would not at least one Drin be acceptable on the Honasto?
We can accept the presence of a Drin representative aboard the Honasto. What we cannot guarantee, and what we are not willing to cede, is the presence of Drin officers on Klingon vessels as a fixed basis. We would handle this as needed, per request, and on an advisory standpoint. We cannot make a guarantee in the long haul. Now, if as you say, Drin history has proven the presence of ambassadors being a useful fact, that is a basis from Drin history, which until now has not been out beyond the Drin homeworld. I would state that in the unprecedented field of intergalactic relations, the degree of independence required and the degrees of communication would vary so much as to make fixing this in paper as we would say, a weight upon the blade. Allowing the flexibility allows for a more powerful alliance over the distances and times to come.
There's wisdom in your words. And then Astizia looks across the Drin eggheads that are there, and she says, Hindin, I have good news for you. And Hindin kind of starts and goes, yes, champion, what is it? You're getting a ride on the Honasto. Good job. And Hindin, who I should say, since Hindin is apparently now going to be a major character, Hinden
Nice.
was this sort of lightish blue, not quite neon blue, but not quite a royal blue. And they go pure purple, like a light violet. And you're not sure if this is because of excitement or embarrassment, but Hinden is like, you're joking, right? I'm just a humble professor.
Do you eat
represent
meat,
our people?
Professor Hinden?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you eat meat, Professor?
Yes, I do quite enjoy meat.
Do you seek honor, Professor?
In some ways, yes.
How many spines do you have, Professor?
Technically 3.
And then I hope that they are well suited towards the firmness of a Klingon bed, and that your digestive tract is suited to the firmness of fine targ. And we will see how well you handle Gach as your honor increases.
And Hinden kind of looks like excited, but also downcast. Like she doesn't believe this is an honor for her. And for this, she's actually going to look at I.K.S, as if seeking approval from I.K.S.
Oh, interesting.
I.K.S just kind of nods and is like,
There is a maxim that I tend to go by in my own days, Professor. Perhaps you may find it useful in your travels aboard a Klingon warship. There is honor in truth, and in truth, honor. Pursue this, and you would have the same honor as any Klingon warrior, which, in the end, is the point of this alliance, that the Drin may benefit from the Klingon Empire, and the Klingon Empire from the Drin. We will assign you a bunk. Perhaps the Becks will be willing to share it as their shifts dictate.
there's much that can be learned from being aboard here, and it would be foolish to squander that opportunity.
I mean, you're right. This is a tremendous honor. I simply question if I am the one for this task. I mean, my field of study is of engineering, of medicine. I am not skilled in the ways of diplomacy.
Also known as bioengineering?
Yes. And Hinden actually motions at Astisia. I am the one that actually designed our champion's prosthetic.
Then, Professor, I have a mission that would be of crucial importance to this crew, and perhaps in alignment with not only your professional interests, but what you can bring from Drin experience. I'm gonna lean in. Can you engineer spare livers?
Well, I would have to work with Captain I.K.S here to better understand the Klingons, but yes, I could make limbs just as capable as the champions.
Not limbs, livers.
Organs.
Oh, sorry, I misheard you. Yes, I mean, technically there's not too much difference between making an artificial organ and an artificial arm. In fact, in some ways I would say that the arm is more complex.
We will have need for them. Welcome aboard the Honasto, Professor. Kapla. I'm also going to assume out of character that Bori can just kind of, personnel-wise, they're fine.
Yeah, it's
You're
one of those
ready.
things where, again, you all are the senior staff of the Honasto. The Admiral more or less just trusts you all to handle things. He just sort of does the, all right, dot the I's and cross the T's kind of a thing.
Yep.
Nod his head to approve.
So yeah, congrats. You now have Hinden aboard
Nice.
aboard your vessel.
Oh god, did we just Neelix ourselves?
You did just do it yourselves.
Well, you know what?
But we didn't just Kess ourselves, so
This is true. It's not a Kess situation.
At least she's not a diplomat. We know that. So we can just kind of put her in a science lab and
Yes,
maybe
she'll be happy.
Maybe she'll be happy, yeah.
And if there is some reason we need to have a token Seg 1 person on board, we've got one.
Oh,
Mhm.
show pony.
Right, yeah. All right, nice.
See, we have this person from Drin who can vouch for us.
Mhm.
Yeah, other species. What the hell's a Drin?
Hey, who are they?
Oh, you mean those people that have never been out in orbit before, past their own orbits before? Yeah, we know them.
One of your neighbors.
They might know
One of
them
your-
from spying on them. Vulcans do about
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Us being humans, not us being Klingons.
Yeah.
Although maybe
Mhm.
us
Yeah.
being Klingons.
Oh, I'm sure the Vulcans spied on Klingons all the
I'm
time.
sure they did, but I don't know. We're not watching Star Trek Klingon, so I don't know. We're playing Star Trek Klingon, so.
So yeah, where would you all like to go from here? Again, you're on the bridge of the sarcophagus ship, just sort of shooting the shit, having chats with the Drin, showing the Drin what's going on, but very much an open floor. Where would you all like to go from here?
I want to go inspect the sarcophagus ship's, weapon capabilities, defensive stuff. See if there's any sort of tactical things that we might be able to glean. If there's any way to tell, what type of weapons they're using, how to give the Honasto an edge at defending against those particular weapons in the future.
Okay.
Oh, we also gotta find a way to make it that we cannot get boarded by those little pissant ships.
Oh,
again.
yeah.
we gotta code these flat cannons to really get a lock on those
Wait a
DOS ship engines or something.
How many of those did we get again?
Three
We
of the
got three of
Desperate.
those. Yeah.
Okay, so not enough to have our own fighters.
No, but we can definitely maybe find a way to code the flat cannons to lock onto those engines. So they're.
But we do have the capability to construct some
Mhm.
with the
How-
Honasto.
How many can we roll out?
It's just a matter of how many you want to stuff into your hangars, really.
How
Well, we'd
good
have-
are the Drin
we'd have
at
to
piloting
design-
these things?
Mhm.
Well, that's actually going to be an interesting question. Have you let any of the Drin, either in mock scenarios or in maybe the Honasto's holodecks, have you let any of the Drin attempt piloting or commanding a vessel like this?
I don't know. At this stage, if
I
we've
would've
got
If it
thought
were my
no.
call, I'd say yes there, but
Well,
yeah.
Probably not until we
yeah,
realize
but see,
like
not
that.
until we started really, not in the time skip area, but
Right. I was gonna say if we're not at the point yet where we understand these vessels, then no. But
Right, but if this is something that we could maybe train them in, they have enough warriors. If we can produce these smaller ships and have a counter to the Hur'q tactics, and with our own small single seat fighters and boarding party
So
ships.
I was thinking more in the sense where they could defend their own planet if they decide to come back and
Oh,
we're
yeah,
not around.
that's what I was thinking as well.
Okay.
Oh,
If
yeah,
we-
that
let's,
works.
If the Honasto can better
bit of
defend from
self-sufficiency.
getting boarded, and they can also become more
Yeah.
capable
Actually, I
of
was
doing
also-
stuff on their
I was-
own. Yeah.
I was actually thinking also of constructing a starbase.
Ooh,
That-
actually
that would
putting
give them,
something in orbit like
Sure.
a star dog. Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah. But a starbase, a Klingon starbase there,
Yeah, that could be
an armored
definitely
one.
an extended project, but yeah, might as well get started on that, right?
So I'm making notes here. So here's
So
what I'll
that's
tell
something
you.
I could have worked on during the 6 months there.
Yeah. So here's what I'll tell you. If you want to make a Klingon star dock or starbase, what you have currently is just support structures for the 1 sarcophagus and the 3 Despu. That's all you've had the time and
Sure.
resources currently to
Right.
create.
Right.
However, there is enough of a time skip here that you would have at least been able to identify potential moons, potential asteroids, potential things in the Drin system to at least mark, hey, if we get this material from here, we can build these extra ships, we can build this starbase.
Hmm.
The tricky part is time here.
Right.
And
Right.
this is me giving you a nebulous sort of thing because I don't want to put a fine cap on it.
Right.
Making a starbase will require, we'll say, roughly 5 to 6 sessions. Assuming, of course, a roughly hour and a half to 2 hour session. This would take about 5 to 6 sessions before the starbase were available above the Drin homeworld.
Goes online
Yeah.
area. Okay.
Yeah. So 5 to 6
That's fine.
sessions for the starbase. Now,
Yeah,
for the smaller sort of scale 3 vessels, they don't necessarily have to be Despu. They could just be Klingon birds of prey that you create and hand over. But those would take roughly 4 to 5. And I would give you probably
Questions?
2 or 3.
Can we do these in parallel, or does it have to be Starbase is in construction? Like, do we queue them up?
That depends if you
Klingons,
want to
raiders.
move the Honasto herself. If the Honasto stays in the Drin system, you can do both things at once. But if you move the Honasto elsewhere, you can only work on one project at a time.
Gotcha. I mean, we theoretically can use the Mangham as our mobile command vessel, right? I mean, it's still a Negvar, so like it's also pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got disruptor cannons and photon torpedoes. If we wanted to
Disruptor
leave
cannons,
the Honasto,
disruptor banks, quantum torpedoes. Yeah, it's kitted out.
right. So it's still a good vessel to use if we wanted to do any sort of missions on other planets, look around. We could leave the Honasto and the Brels here.
Yeah, we detach that as a whole fleet, or even separate them. A couple of birds of prey in one direction, a Nekvar in another. That's a pretty good sized projection.
Yeah. So I think leaving the Honasto to defend Drin while constructing 2 things is probably a good idea. I think that's probably pretty smart to begin construction on a starbase, and also how many? You said 3 birds of prey?
Yeah, 2 to 3 birds of preys.
Depending on how good we are. That's pretty solid. That will definitely bolster ourselves.
Yeah, and it'll help in the defense of the planet.
And certainly help us, really solidify our presence too. Like,
Palpable sign of the alliance.
yeah, like we're not just like it is very, very visible, very tangible. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I guess I have to ask from a meta perspective here, now that we've kind of gotten this far. Do you all want to stay aboard the Honasto and keep just day-to-day, almost like DS9 level shenanigans, where the Drin are there, diplomatic and interesting sort of scenarios around the Drin keep happening? Or are you more interested in exploring and tracking down the Hur'q mothership? Because as we've just decided, the Honasto's staying here, but the Mangholm and the Birds of Prey are probably going to go out and explore a little bit. So my question is, which would you all like to pursue the most?
Well, I'd rather go after the Hur'q.
Okay. So we've got one vote for the Hur'q.
I'm a fan of that. I think that'd be a lot of fun too. Because we can divide and conquer, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of sticking around. We get the chance to build up a power base and to see what happens with this uplifting project. If the Hur'q have sent what may not be, we don't know the size of the Hur'q fleet that they sent here. It could just be a token detachment. It could be the majority of their forces. We have seen what they can commit to this one mission. Let's see what they commit to the next one, while at the same time consolidating our power.
Okay.
Well, the consolidation of the power is still going to exist without our presence, right? The Honasto is still going to do the construction with or without us.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that we need to like take off the blinders that we currently have on, i.e. we need to see what else is around us, and make sure that there aren't any other awful things that are lurking right around the corner from where we are. Because the Drin really have no idea what's beyond their system. So I think we definitely need to begin getting, scouting out, so we can start seeing what else is out there.
That's fair. Yeah, taking the initiative. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, is that the Drin haven't reached out to anybody else, but we don't know who else knows about the Drin.
Right.
Like that's a one-way mirror, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would behoove us to get a lay of the land lay of the skies, space, as it
Sure.
were. Right.
Yeah, so my vote would maybe, leave the Honasto here, let it do, build a starbase and 2 to 3 more birds of prey. We can all hop on the main home, right? Kind of just, hey, we're in command of the vessel now. Thanks for coming. Here's what we're gonna do, and then we can kind of look around, and I guess maybe we can send one of the other birds of prey in a different direction. The one that's the stealthier one, right?
Mm-hmm.
The science one there?
Right. I think the blackbird is the one that's better spent for scientific. Yeah.
The Vestarg is the science one. The Vestarg
Nutka.
is the warship. It's the Nutka. That's the science.
So that's the one that's the
The
scientific
Nutka,
and survey operations one. So maybe we send that one in another direction to scan specifically for finding further resources, that sort of thing. While we take the main home
and other planets to visit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we take the main home and specifically
visit
at Hur'q's presence. Yeah.
Okay. So it's actually at this point that I have to do a little bit of housekeeping. You did get another momentum from chat, so you are up to 3.
Yeah.
But we still have that complication from an hour ago. And
Right.
now that you've all decided where you want to go and what to do, I can actually introduce the complication.
Okay.
All right.
So, it's not the Selenium system that this happens in, but what your long-range sensors suddenly detect, and of course you all get this report either from a Beck, either immediately to your pads, but in another nearby system, again narrative distance away, there is the sudden appearance of a subspace anomaly very similar to Borg transwarp conduits.
Oh.
Awful.
And
Cool.
what you notice, at least on your long-range sensors, is that this anomaly lasts maybe about 2-3 hours, and then it shuts off.
Awful.
Scan for anomalous readings.
Cool.
Looking for a cloak ship specifically.
All right. Well, this asks the question, which among you has the highest science score? I think that's probably Kanas.
Maybe. Actually, maybe not. I have a 3, so it might not be me.
I think it's
Might-
Mori.
I have a 3 as well.
I think Mori has 4, right?
I have
Maury, yeah,
4.
Maury's
Why
got
the
more
hell do I
science.
have 4 in science?
He took a class.
Nice.
We've asked this question multiple times.
And every time it's Kanas has the guy science. And I'm like, actually, I do
And
not.
we have,
You know what?
we have yet to come up with an answer.
With a good answer, yeah. The science
what?
of law, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe he's just the
Political
egghead. He's the boffin here. The nocturne.
Let me tell you what the role is, because this might color the decision. It would be a reason and a science, and it would be assisted by the Honasto's sensor and a science.
Well, reason science might be me then, because my reason's pretty high. So that gets me a 15. So that actually
Yeah,
might be
that's
me.
you.
All right. So that one might be me. All right.
Oh, difficulty. Difficulty on this will be
Yeah,
a 3.
I was going to say, hi, okay. Okay, interesting.
All right. I don't know if I have anything I can throw at it other than
Yeah, I don't think you've got to focus here, unfortunately.
no, nothing that works for this one. All right. Well, I can roll it and hope we don't make it worse.
Okay.
Oh,
we
the ship
have-
is good.
Yeah, ship got you 2 assists, so that's already 2. That's another 2
Hey.
for a total of 4, which means you actually get a momentum back for your trouble, bringing you
That
up to
works.
4. So, what you are able to tell Kanas, based on the scans, is that it's not a cloaked vessel, and thankfully it's not a Borg vessel, but
Oh,
in this
thankfully.
nearby star system, as far as you're able to tell, this transwarp conduit, this bubble of subspace, whatever you want to call it, actually acted as a beacon, and several ships, roughly about the size of a Vorcha-class, so roughly scale 4, scale 5, 3 Vorcha-sized vessels appeared next to the anomaly before it shut off. And it's
The
not like they
transwarp
warped
anomaly,
in,
you
I
said?
should qualify. It's not like they warped in. They literally kind of just popped into existence next to this subspace anomaly.
Ooh, like Portal. It's like
Ah.
a portal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
They jump through a portal. Cool.
do we know anything about the possibility of Hur'q usage of these portals, or is this we didn't get far enough in engineering?
If you give me momentum, I will answer that question.
Go
I
for
think
it.
we give him a momentum.
Okay. The answer is these are not Hur'q. These are
Okay.
some new aliens that you have no idea who they are.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool.
But they're not Borg, right? Like,
As far as your
They're-
sensors are able to tell, that is not a Borg transwarp signature.
well, that's a plus.
Nice.
All right. So there is potentially another player in the
Species.
area that has some sort of tech.
Which
so
we
that's-
suspected might have been the case.
Right,
Like,
but
we,
yeah.
we did not rule that out at all.
Right,
So
right,
not super
Far from it.
surprising. This tech level was a little bit higher than I was personally thinking it might be, but hey, that's the complication. That's how it goes.
So that's definitely something to look into for sure. Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess that could be a direction that we go to investigate, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that sounds like a
In the
good
main
goal.
home. And then we can leave the Honasto here with another the warship bird of prey just to protect it. Both can just kind of chill together. Send the science bird of prey in a different direction to do other planetary scans, checking like anomalies and see if there's any harvestable gas or minerals or whatnot that might come in handy.
Scan neighboring systems, yeah.
Yeah.
see
exactly.
if we see another one of those portal warpy
Sure.
bobbers.
Yeah.
Right.
Any other indications of portals or other things?
Right, because we want to see is this something that's very commonplace here, or
Sure,
was this
yeah.
like just a one-off, right place, right time that we happen to pick it up? Like, is this something we're going to stumble into? Like, oh look, the bus, the 1214 bus is here, sort of thing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, "Oh, look, the squirrel."
I
Right.
mean, look,
Right. Okay. Interesting. Okay, cool. So that sounds like we're in pseudo agreement on that then.
So I would say that you, from the sounds of it, you're going to take the Mang home to investigate this new signature, if I understand correctly.
I think so.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Then
All right.
Nordka.
So I have a few questions for you then, just as sort of a housekeeping thing. The Mang home, of course, does have its own captain, its own command crew. And you, of course, can maintain that command crew and act as like pseudo admirals or pseudo, I forget the
The
Klingon
captains
term.
kind of thing.
Yeah, where you're in charge, but you're not handling the day-to-day command. So that is something you could do. Or
A bit
you
like
could
having the chancellor and the captain.
Well,
Chancellor
yeah,
and the captain.
it's
The
also
captain's
something
really the
where
captain
you
of the ship.
can. I'm actually looking up. Where is he?
Captain
so yeah, right
Drelos.
now, yeah, Captain Drelos is the one in command of the main home.
Yeah.
So
Who was that
you
dude that
could
had the
either-
Hur'q weapon?
Sorry, say again.
He was that dude
Huh?
that had that Hur'q weapon that you took.
Oh yeah,
no,
yeah,
the
that was
power
Drelos.
generator. Possibly
Yeah.
that
a
was
power,
him. Yeah.
possibly a power generator.
Power generator
Power
weapon,
weapon.
Same thing.
Right.
Well, he gave me a Hur'q device to fix, possibly a power generator.
Right.
But yeah,
Captain Morelos, we don't know son of though. He's a son of something.
oh yeah, I don't think I've
Yeah.
given him a son of yet. I think I was waiting
Yeah.
for him to become important before I gave him that.
Well,
He's some kind of
here we
like
go.
Now's
some
Now's your
self-reported
chance.
Klingon goon.
Mm-hmm.
it.
But yeah, all this to say that you could leave Drelos in charge. You could simply act as the admiralty aboard the Mangholm, and
Yep.
in a crisis situation, you can kick people off consoles and actually shoot the disruptors, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Or
Yep.
option two.
Get out of my way, young pup.
Yeah, option two is you don't quite remove Drelos from play, but what you say is, hey, Drelos, take over my duties while I take over your ship, if that makes any sense. Where Drelos and Drelos' staff will more or less stay with the Honasto and sort of assume your duties, but it's not like you're going, oh, well, you don't meet my helm officer anymore. Like, no. You'll still have enough senior staff on the Mangholm to handle any combat situations, to handle anything like that. It's just a major difference of, are you in direct control of the ship, or are you simply the admiralty of the ship?
Is Captain Drelos is he like the disagreeable type that's going to resent a bunch of people taking command, or does he respect the chain of command? Like, do we have to worry about some house rivalry from him or any other crap?
Well, that is a conversation you're going to have with Captain Drelos.
Yeah, so I say let's go chat with him.
So have a conversation.
Well,
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I'll go
track him
yeah.
down.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we just go in with the intent to not interfere with his ship. But if he's going to come in with, I don't even want you people here, you go tell me what to do, then maybe we have to rein him in a little.
Yeah, my approach was just going to be like, hey, we're going to use your ship for a mission. You're still in command, but this is your orders. We're telling you to go here, and we're coming along as supervisors.
Yes.
But I interfere with his ship all the
honor.
time. Every time I go on the ship for an engineering inspection, I'm interfering with his ship.
Well, and that's okay.
Yeah.
He'll deal with it.
Yeah.
So let's sort of narrow down some details. Where do you want to meet Captain Drelos? Do you want it to be on the Mangholm? Do you want it to be, say, I don't know, on one of the bars of the Honasto? Like, where would you want to meet Captain Drelos?
I think surprise visitation to the Drello to the Mangholm. Make sure it's in operational order. Like, hey, knock knock, we're here.
Knock, knock,
How's your
there.
ship
It's
look
us.
right now? Because we're going to want it right now, and hopefully it's in good order.
Yeah, is your ship ready to spread honor, etc.? It better be, because here we come.
I was gonna vote
Right,
bar,
yeah.
but I like that logic, so I'm all for. I'll change my vote.
Well, actually, the bar part might be doable. We schmooze him in. We feel the guy out. That's always a possibility.
No bar. It'd be the mess hall. We just close off the mess hall. Or,
Well, I do like the idea of a surprise inspection. That's not too shabby.
Oh,
I
yes.
can get behind that.
I love those. Yeah.
Let's do it. Why not?
Surprise inspection.
Yeah,
is.
we all outrank him anyway.
You do all outrank him. All right, so surprise inspection of the Mangholm as we kind of do a vignette cut once again. The command staff immediately stand and give the Klingon salute as you step onto the bridge. That also includes Captain Drelos. And Drelos says, "Ha! It seems that we have yet another surprise inspection. Captain Dagon, I was under the impression that you only did those on Fridays."
I've got to switch up the plans. They're
Can't be
wisening
too
up.
predictable.
Routine dulls
I would say,
blade.
just lulling you into a false sense of comfort.
Well, I am proud to proclaim that even though it is not Friday, we are prepared for a surprise inspection. We sustained absolute minimal damage in the Hur'q battle. We have already repaired our ruptured EPS conduits. We have already repaired the hull plating. We are a top-class vessel.
Glad to hear it, Captain. Now let's see if that's actually the truth.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Dagon, Insight Engineering, difficulty of 2.
Insight engineering.
And yes, you have a focus.
Okay. Focus. Difficulty of 2, you say? I would like to take 1 momentum for an extra dice.
Okay.
Oh,
5
God.
successes.
Still the best engineer in the galaxy.
All right, well, that brings you up to 4 momentum. Well done there.
Damn.
Man,
Nice.
I'm killing it.
So, my
the master
initial
of engineering.
thought is that you don't find anything wrong, but since you did get so many successes, I'm going to let that be your call. Dagon, do you find anything wrong with the Mangholm?
Just a stain on one of the components there.
Nice.
or oh, I know. Maybe instead of a self-sealing stem bolt type A, they used a self-sealing stem bolt type B, and it's like, oh, that could work, but it's not what it's supposed to be.
Right.
That's right. No. Just like I said, just a stain on one of the manifolds there.
Okay. So you point
And I was
this
like-
out to Captain Drelos, and Drelos goes, "Oh, well, nobody's perfect. We will have that part replaced and cleaned immediately."
Agreed.
But tell me, as much as I enjoy a surprise inspection, what brings you to the Manghole?
Good that you asked.
Oh.
Orders have come down from Admiral Zark. We have detected unique energy signatures in the narratively appropriate system that I'll point up.
Yeah, let me
but,
quickly generate a name. We need
sure,
a name for the
yeah.
system. Hold on.
Copy.
Let's generate up a name.
The narrative system. Why do they call it the narrative system?
Yeah, spelled really weirdly.
What'd you say? I
Yeah.
couldn't.
The narrative system. Or the narrative system.
Narrative. Yeah. Narrative.
You know what? As much as that is a joke, that actually might be.
It actually kind of works.
That actually kind of
funny.
works. Yeah. Fuck it.
narrative
Yeah,
system.
it is now
I like
the
that too.
nar. Is now the narrative system. That's how we'll spell
Amazing.
Narrative.
Hell
there you
yeah.
go. Nice.
Yeah. We have detected a unique energy signature in the narrative system. We will be accompanying you on the main home to investigate it. You will be retaining command of your vessel and your crew. We will be coming along as representatives of the Admiralty and advisors on this mission.
And Drelos actually does that like fist bump against the chest, that sign of respect, and says, "As a member of House Woha, it is my honor to serve as your vessel, as your underlings in this regard." And for anybody who needs a reminder, House Woha is actually one of the major houses aboard and responsible for the construction of the Honasto in the first place.
Nice. Very cool.
Oh.
The honor of House Woha is as stout as its construction and as well regarded in other galaxies too. This will be a glorious mission.
Now, there is one matter, which might be a bit of a sticky situation, as the humans would say. And Drelos gets this really wide smile, really wide, toothy Klingon smile. Unfortunately, we do not have appropriate beds. You might have to hot bunk.
Understandable. It is of no consequence.
A warrior
On a
is
Negvar
prepared.
class. On a Negvar class? Wow. Okay.
Well, do you point that out, Dagon?
Yes.
And I think Drelos actually
considering
kinda
my
laughs.
father, considering my father constructed the Negvars, it was like, yeah, no.
So you point that out, and I think Drelos actually does a belly laugh and says, at least
believe
one
there's
of
some
you
answers I
understood the
could kick
joke
out,
I was
too.
making. At least one of you did. Yes,
Yeah.
of course, there are appropriate quarters, private quarters for each of you. Unless you wish to
One way or
sleep
the
with the
other.
Becks. I'm sure the Becks would enjoy your company.
I'm sure I would actually, yes. Headbutting sessions all the time. Yeah, but one way or the other, there's a couple of instances that could have taken a hot bunk.
Once
Rank had
bunk
the
is only as
privileges.
hot as one, there is only one need to heat a bunker if you are unable to find the appropriate extra heater or the appropriate honor to warm it.
There's
Or
a
he's
guy
going
who's
to
never
do,
been in the
or he's going
military.
to attempt the Vulcan eyebrow raise, as
Mhm.
close as a Klingon innuendo could happen.
All right.
Nice.
So I think Drelos kind of smiles again and says, "Very well, when do we leave?"
As soon as possible, Captain.
We can leave
ready your-
immediately.
Beautiful. That was the answer we were hoping for.
Alright. So then, I think the way we will end today's session is we see the Mangholm departing from the major hangar of the Honasto. We see it kind of drop beneath the Honasto, kind of bank slowly to the left out from underneath the Honasto, angling towards the narrative system, which again, phenomenal name. Angling
before we
towards the
go-
narrative system, the nacelles glow, and Mangholm jumps
Are we
to
bringing
work.
Drin, though?
Oh, yes, very important. Do you
Yeah,
bring the Drin with you?
Professor-
Do you bring Hindin with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yep.
Shake her
I'm
down.
good for that, too.
Again, I like having the security, not security blanket, but the locals, as it were.
Okay. So again, as that narrative, the nacelles glow and the Mangholm jumps to warp, we maybe hear just a disembodied voice of Hinden go, "Oh dear, what have I gotten myself into?"
We don't know.
And we
Ask
can-
executive producers Rick Berman and Jerry Taylor.
But that is where we're going to end today's session. And
Nice.
you get to
Nice.
keep your momentum. I'm not going to reset your
Okay.
momentum because it very much was an info dump session, so you get to keep your
Sure.
momentum. But yeah, what'd you all think? I think this was a phenomenal way to not necessarily fully wrap up, but to sort of advance the Drin storyline, and
Yeah.
you have new things to
Great.
explore.
Yeah,
You say we got a lot done.
super great bridge the gap session for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Productive.
does this count as session 1 of maximum amount for the construction
two?
of the base and the
It
And
does. So
the-
this will
okay,
count.
copy.
This will count as 1. So you have
Okay.
another 5 to 6 for the star bases, and you have 4 to 5 for the extra birds
Gotcha.
of prey.
Get those Tiberium harvesters working overtime.
God. Oh, Lord. How old is that at this point? Do I even want to look it up?
No.
No, I don't want to look it up. I don't want to feel that old.
Yeah, your lumbar
it.
will thank you.
All right. Well, Twitch, stick around because we're going to raid somebody, but YouTube, this is where we say goodbye. Bye, YouTube.
Bye,
Later,
YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.